Scorpio Ophiuchus, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for April 4th through the 10th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology, very different from mainstream astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so this week we have a new moon in your 5th house of self-expression. This is where there has already been a lot of energy. You've had the sun here helping you express yourself, gain energy, maybe pursuing your interests in life or your hobbies, and Venus here helping you enjoy them as well. But it's also been a very transformative time. With that, with Chiron here helping you heal wounds with that, and also releasing any old energies relating to any over or under extremes about that self-expression. But this week, it's going to be a very spiritual time. We have a new moon in Pisces, which is about going within. And that's really what all new moons are about anyways, going within. It's a bit reflective, and especially leading up to it. It'll be on Thursday. So leading up to that, we're in the balsamic phase. We're still reflecting on the past lunar energy, on the past cycle, still finishing things up, tying up some loose ends. And then around Thursday, sitting with it, setting those intentions, maybe writing things down in terms of what you enjoy in life. What are your hobbies? What are your interests? And particularly how you can express yourself. And this is going to be a type of self-expression that's very individualistic. This new moon is going to be conjoining up to Uranus. It's going to be perhaps quite deep. It's going to be squaring up to Pluto, but yet quite grounded because it's going to be trining up to Saturn. In fact, those three aspects are the major aspects of the week, because the only aspects this week we have are with the sun. So you can see them setting the stage here. On Tuesday, the sun will be trining up to Saturn, emphasizing that aspect of the new moon. And this has been the responsibilities that hopefully you guys have been assuming a healthy amount of for about the past year off and on with Saturn in the first house. A lot of you are quite motivated and quite direct and driven right now, probably to either pursue your goals, maybe work on your self-image. Mars also rules your 6th house, maybe get the routine and diet and daily stuff taken care of. But whatever it is, this grounded approach to yourself, this maturity, this patient, responsible self that you've been developing over the past roughly year is supporting this new moon. Now, there is this intensity about it too, with Pluto squaring up to that new moon. This is going to be specifically on Wednesday, is that there is deep change with it, deep change with the psyche. It could even be deep change not only with that self-expression, but also with your career, since the sun rules your 10th house. In fact, there could be some inspiration about career, some new beginnings with that, or with your public life. Okay, but with this Pluto, this has been a Pluto in your 2nd house, helping you really transform your self-worth, your sense of self-worth, your self-reliance. And this has been over many years with Pluto here. So the more open you are to change in terms of your attachments to what you value in life. In other words, Pluto is showing us where we're holding on tight because of fear, where there might be some fear of holding on in terms of value or attachment, or on the external level, material security. Because it's through the releasing of the attachments that we come to the true spiritual power of Pluto. And that's going to be directly relating to the self-expression, that through this non-attachment to your values, you're actually gaining this easier sense of your self-worth. And there's a bit of confidence perhaps associated with that 2nd house as well. So through that self-worth, it then becomes very strongly supported, this self-expression. Right? And so there's a deep change happening with that as well. And so the more non-attached you are to also how you express yourself, the more powerful this will be in a flowing sort of way. Because otherwise it does get very intense, it does get very deep, and the way to channel it is, of course, through that non-attachment. Particularly non-attachment so that the fears can be let go. So that's going to be the deeper side of it. Now this new moon is going to be conjoining up to Uranus in that 5th house. So like I was saying, there is a bit of inspiration with it. This has been a Uranus in your 5th house for about the past 6 or 7 years, helping you find more freedom of your self-expression, of being your true self, expressing your true self. And this is now some new things to reflect on about that as well. So those are the 3 big ones. I think the Uranus and the Sun conjunction over the weekend, that'll come a little bit later after the new moon on Thursday over the weekend. A bit of that inspiration there to express yourself, to create, again, maybe some new inspiring things with your work or career, since the sun rules your 10th. And one thing I want to mention too is that Mercury is shifting into your 6th house early in the week, around Tuesday and Wednesday. So you'll probably find your mind shifting more towards your work, like your more daily work, your daily activities, your routine, your self-improvement. I think those are good areas to focus on with the mind. And I think the mind does have the sense of fire about it this week with Mercury entering into Aries. All right, this passion about its motivation. And I think here to work with the daily stuff. Could be busy for some of you. Now, Mercury is going to go retrograde here later in the month. So it's good to implement this stuff now, to experiment, try new things with your routine, your self-improvement, your regiments, your workspace. And then later on, as that reflects, you'll have this foundation with that. But the biggest energy is going to be this new moon in your 5th. And I feel like sitting with it, it's going to be a lowering of energy. It's really not until next week a lot of this starts to move forward. But sitting with how you can really access that deep self-expression of Pluto, which is non-attached, that very grounded type of self-expression from that trine from Saturn, that maturity that you've been developing there. And then here with Uranus, the freedom that comes along from you really having that true self come through that self-expression. All right, Scorpio Ophiuchus, I hope you guys have an awesome week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.